A house fire in Laurinburg kills a man and his pets.
And city council elections in Laurinburg are practically a referendum on the new city hall.
We'll tell you about the shakeup there. You're watching Carolina News Today.
Carolina News Today is brought to you in part by the Wing Company of Pembroke, serving award-winning wings fresh, not frozen. Live entertainment weekly, 703 West 3rd Street in Pembroke. 10% discount for students and teachers every day. TheOriginalWingCo.com.
UNCP's new School of Business building is one step closer to realization. The largest gift in the history of the university was endowed this week and earmarked for that building. UNCP trustee Jim Thomas and his wife Sally donated a landmark $7 million for its construction. $3 million is for maintenance and promotion of the school. $4 million is a matching grant that requires UNCP to raise an additional $4 million. As a successful California real estate developer, Thomas is credited with much of the Los Angeles skyline in recent years.
And I love the analogy that now he's come home, and through his work here, he and Sally will help create the skyline of Pembroke, the skyline of Robeson County, and the skyline for the generations of students to come. I can think of no greater way, no greater investment by an individual than to invest in their home, a home that needs the potential of a great future, a home that has the potential, and to come and put their investment here so as to grow our university for the future.
An animal lover who was keeping rescued pets on his property was killed when the home caught fire early Monday evening. The man has been identified as 49-year-old Sean Patrick Flynn of Ponderosa Circle. His adult children were not home at the time of the fire. Flynn perished while trying to save some of the animals. The state medical examiner will perform an autopsy to determine the cause of death. The Laurinburg Police Department is investigating how the fire began. Firefighters from 3 towns worked 2 hours to put out the blaze.
A shakeup on the Laurinburg City Council. Some incumbents are out, possibly because of their support for a new city hall. The city has been divided over a plan to borrow $10 million for a combined City Hall Police Department. The city's administration building, a pretty home that once belonged to a former judge, has already been torn down. Here's Mayor Block's house. He's been a vocal critic of the plan. New candidates for City Council ran almost entirely on a platform of no new City Hall. They said crime and jobs needed to be addressed. Out are long-serving councilman J.D. Willis and former city clerk D. Hammond. In are Mary Evans and Jim Garby. The City Hall proponent Drew Williamson was reelected.
In Pembroke, 2 incumbent council candidates kept their seats, despite a challenge from former councilman Alan Dial. Channing Jones and Teresa Locklear were reelected, although results are still unofficial at this time. Dial previously served 4 terms on the town council and also ran for Pembroke mayor 2 years ago.
An escaped inmate with ties to Robeson County has been captured. Larry J. Locklear escaped from Wake Correctional Center Monday. He's a habitual felon whose rap sheet goes back to the 1970s in Robeson County, including breaking and entering, DUI, and other prison escapes. A maintenance worker for the Department of Public Safety saw Locklear walking along I-95 in Johnston County Tuesday and called the Benson police. Locklear was picked up by a state trooper without incident.
This weekend, UNCP plays host to some guest speakers who are traveling the state to promote women of color in the sciences. Called Hidden No More, the traveling event is sponsored by the Moorhead Planetarium and Science Center. At Pembroke, one of the speakers is former UNCP trustee Dr. Frida Porter, one of the few American Indians to earn a PhD in mathematics. Here's geologist Amy Gross with more on Saturday's program.
People that have seen the movie Hidden Figures, Dorothy Vaughan is one of the main characters, and she was the first African-American manager at Langley Research Center, and it's her daughter, Anne Vaughn Hammond, and her daughter-in-law Peggy Vaughn. They are 2 of the guest speakers, and they're going to discuss, of course, women in STEM. We have faced some challenges. We could certainly argue that we've overcome a lot of those challenges and things are better now maybe than 30 years ago. But women of color, have some additional challenges that they've had to overcome.
The North Carolina Department of Transportation says they're going above and beyond to prevent winter weather hazards on the roads. Here's NCDOT now.
Welcome to this week's edition of NCDOT Now. I'm Carly Oleksic. As we start to feel the temperature drop around North Carolina, now is the time when maintenance crews around the state are beginning to check supplies and inspect equipment to ensure we are prepared for any potential winter storms. NCDOT workers in Buncombe County already performed a dry run, where crews familiarized themselves with snow routes and tested all equipment to ensure it is functioning properly. All 100 North Carolina counties will conduct these drills to be ready for winter weather.
Maintenance yards are running through their dry runs. They're working with their contractors, and should be done by November in terms of preparing all their equipment, topping off their salt storage and brine capacities, and really reaching out and making sure that we're ready for the weather.
With more than 80,000 miles of roadways to maintain, NCDOT has many pieces of equipment, including 2,250 dump trucks with plows and salt or sand spreaders, 503 front-end loaders and backhoes, and 324 motor graders. During these drills, crews also assess the salt and sand supplies, which are essential during snow and ice removal. The department can store up to 170,000 tons of salt and sand and more than 1.5 million gallons of brine, a saltwater mixture that helps keep snow and ice from freezing on major highways in each of the state's 100 counties. Did you know that you could go online instead of waiting in line at the DMV? The North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles offers numerous services online through the My DMV portal, which can save you time while also helping make sure you don't miss important renewal or registration deadlines. My DMV allows you to view and manage details about your identification, driving status, and vehicle registration online. You can view previous vehicle property tax payments and skip a trip to the DMV by completing several services online without ever waiting in line. And while on the site, add your email address to your profile for future notifications about your license and vehicle. To access these services or for more information, visit myncdmv.gov. And that's all for this week's edition of NCDOT Now. As always, you can stay connected with us on Facebook and Twitter. That's at NCDOT. You can also follow us on Snapchat and Instagram at NCDOT.com. And from all of us at the North Carolina Department of Transportation, safe travels.
It was an everything must go sale at the UNCP library. CNT reporter Ryan Taylor tells us why the staff were selling off a large part of the collection.
Thousands of books and DVDs were sold to help clear out any duplicate copies from the library. The sale had two locations. One inside that sold DVDs for $2 each, and books held outside on Faculty Row for $1 each. The books outside ranged from pure fiction to more informative hardbacks. There were even magazines up for sale. We got a chance to talk with shopper Levi Pye to see why they were interested.
Well, I kind of want to get a collection of my own books going. My dad and my grandpa have their own collection of books, so it's kind of a family tradition of having a book collection, so kind of get some books of my own.
The sale wasn't just to clear out inventory. Some of the books and DVDs out for sale were needed to clear out for the collection, and some were even donated to the library. The man who headed this event, Dennis Swanson, gives us his insights on why this sale needed to happen.
Earlier in the year when we measured, we were at 97% capacity. So certain things just needed to be removed anyway, and this was a way of handling some of that. You see behind me it's all empty, and that's where a new classroom is going to be built, and so that's why we're moving things around. There's a lot of steps involved in this, but probably about 10%.
The sale was very important to the library financially. Per state surplus rules, all of the proceeds made from this were to help fund special projects for the library in the future. For Carolina News Today, I'm Ryan Taylor.
Braves athletics brings home victories in multiple sports.
And a fierce rivalry in high school football leads to high scoring on both sides.
Sports are up next with Dolphus Pearson III.
November is Prematurity Awareness Month. Every year, more than 450,000 babies are born premature. That's 1 in 10 babies. These tiny babies often face serious problems, and some don't make it. The March of Dimes is a national voluntary health agency whose mission is to improve the health of babies by preventing birth defects and infant mortality. Zeta Phi Beta sorority chapters have joined forces in this international campaign to support research into the causes of prematurity birth and to educate the public and healthcare professionals about this escalating health problem. Help spread the message about premature birth so more babies can be born healthy.
I came to the University of North Carolina at Pembroke for big school opportunities at a place that feels like home.
I love our rich diversity and strong traditions.
And because UNCP is an NC Promise school, I'll graduate with a world-class education without a mountain of debt.
Learn more and apply today at uncp.edu or call 910-521-6262. Our promise, your opportunity. uncp.edu.
I have big plans for my future, and I can get there from here.
We had a chance to catch arguably the greatest rivalry in North Carolina this weekend as the Fighting Scots of Scotland County faced off against arch nemesis, the Richmond County Raiders. The all-time record between the two teams are favored in Richmond County with 35 wins, 13 losses, and 1 tie. However, Scotland has won the last 5 contests and look to continue this past Friday. Scots waste no time making their presence felt as Zamir White steamrolls through the Raiders defense for a big 28-yard run. The very next play, Mr. Zeus finds a hole and absolutely torches the Raiders defense for a Scotland touchdown and an early 19-7 lead in the middle of the first quarter. But Richmond has a stout running back as well in Dante Miller, who displays some elusive moves on this 31-yard run to push the ball closer in the Scots territory. Next play, freshman quarterback Caleb Hood then finds Deshaun Watson on a 24-yard screen pass that he takes to the house. Richmond cuts into the Scotland lead down to 5 with time winding down in the first quarter. Then the Raiders make the terrible mistake of kicking the ball to big Zamir White. And mama, there goes that man. A 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Just like that, Scotland extends their lead to 27-14. Richmond will answer right back, though. This time, Deshaun Wallace comes through with a tough catch in traffic, and the Raiders are still rolling. Richmond County's Caleb Hood then finds Shrine Bowl inductee Dante Miller on a tunnel screen that he proceeds to embarrass Scotland defenders on to get the ball into the Scots red zone. Miller then carries the ball in from 11 yards out and finishes with a smooth track lean to give the Richmond Raiders a 27-20 lead. Richmond was knocking on the door and looking for one mistake to capitalize on. 1st and 10 for the Scots. Zamir White is out to prove that he's the #1 running back in the nation for a reason, as he literally carries the defenders as he fights for extra yards on the run. Next play, Warren Bell finds a wide open Sonny McQueen in the back of the end zone, but he can't quite reel it in for a touchdown. 3rd down for the Scots. Bell looks for Zamir White in the flats, but Zeus has a rare drop and can't convert for the Scots. 1st and 10 Raiders. Dante Miller bursts through the line for a 31-yard scamper to put Richmond County in great field position and looking to go ahead on the Scots. Next play, Hood throws a bomb downfield to senior wide receiver Malik Stanback, who makes the beautiful one-hand catch over defender Bruce Wall for a 36-yard reception. 3rd and long for the Raiders. Caleb Hood drops back and is looking for a wide-open receiver, but is swallowed up by a host of Fighting Scots. The freshman is seasoned, however, this defense boasts too many upperclassmen. Scotland will go on to outscore Richmond 35-20 in the second half to put the Scots over the Raiders 69-47. The UNCP football team traveled to Mars Hill over the weekend. Both teams combined for nearly 100 points and almost 1,100 yards of total offense. It was multiple touchdowns during the fourth quarter that made the Lions come out on top with the 55-44 win over the Braves. Quarterback Dominic Sampson threw for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. However, he suffered an injury in the first half, but Austin Foley stepped in and threw for 177 yards. It was the 4th straight road loss for the Black and Gold. The UNCP soccer team had their second appearance in the final round of the Peach Belt Conference Championships earlier this week. In the 20th minute, Christine Ruffles sent home a penalty kick to shut out Columbus State to receive their first ever Peach Belt Conference title in program history. This is also the first time UNCP won over Columbus State in postseason play. The Cougars have won the last 7 postseason meetings against the Braves. Goalkeeper Gina Ryan had 3 shutouts in the tournament to grab MVP honors. Also on the all-tournament team was Shannon O'Neill, Alexis Pittman, and Jasmine Senegal Guzman. The Braves will make their 3rd NCAA tournament appearance in the Southeast Regional starting on November 10th against Queens University. Coach Lars Anderson talked about his favorite moment of the season as the teams prepare for regionals.
Certainly, winning the PBC conference tournament, getting an opportunity to run out there on the field and celebrate with my players, celebrate with the seniors, celebrate with players who have been here a long time. And you know, to be a part of that process, you know, a coaching staff that is working so hard, and a staff surrounding us, you know, from the athletic department to celebrate with all the people that have made this possible down in Evans, Georgia, when we won the conference tournament was truly special. Running onto the field when the final whistle blew is a moment that I will remember for as long as I should live.
The UNCP women's swim team has extended their program record to 9 straight wins this past weekend. The team beat out host team Sweat-Briar 158-65. They also slipped past Pfeiffer with a score of 117-112. The Braves won 6 out of 14 events, grabbing 4 individual wins, 2 relays, and grabbing runner-up honors 10 times. Abigail Woods got her 8th win of the season in the 100-meter backstroke to beat the field by over 17 seconds. This concluded the fall portion of their schedule. Freshman cross-country runner Silas Kipkowicz turned in the 9th fastest 10K time in school history at the NCAA Southeast Region Championships. Alongside having one of the fastest times in 10K history, Kipkowicz also captured the NCAA Southeast Region Championship. This first-place finish guarantees that he will represent the Braves at the National Championship on November 18th. Kipkowicz joins Olympian Pardon Lavu as the only runners in NCAA Division II era at UNCP to compete at the National Championships. The UNCP volleyball team snapped their 10-match losing streak this past weekend. In their first game against Virginia State, the Braves won in straight set victory. Casey Bell had a team-high 12 digs, and Bailey Jones had 20 assists. In the second game against St. Andrews, the Braves had an electrifying 5-set match to skim by the Knights in the 5th set. This win gives the Braves back-to-back victories for the first time since 2015. Half of the wins this year came for the Braves in 5 sets. The Braves had their regular season game against Winston-Salem State and capitalized with the win. I'm Dolphus Pearson III, and that's a wrap for sports.
Thanks, Dolphus. And good luck to the soccer team this weekend in Tennessee.
That's right. We'll tell you how they did next week on another edition of Carolina News Today.